The night he told me he'd waited for the right person, we were sitting on a blanket, eating cold strawberries out of a paper carton. The park had that late summer hum. Sprinklers, dogs, a rogue Bluetooth speaker, somewhere playing a song we both pretended not to recognize. Ethan was quiet for a beat that felt intentional, then said it like a fact he respected about himself, not a brag. "I've waited," he said. "Not because of church or anything. Just, I wanted the first time to be something I could live with later. I guess I was waiting for you." I remember smiling like my face was made of glass. I said the safest version of the truth I had on hand. "I've had relationships." Then I changed the subject because there are some doors you never want anyone to open. 2 months later, he proposed in his kitchen with a ring that made my hands look elegant even when I was shaking. He cried. I laughed. We called his mom. I FaceTimed my sister. We took a dozen photos where I'm holding his face like I discovered a new species of joy. I told myself I would tell him the rest after we'd patted the ground with more good memories. That's how I justified doing nothing. If you were to search my Google Drive for health, you'd find the file I never meant to be public, a plain spreadsheet with dates, initials, and a column for what I was checking back then. Routine STI panels, contraception notes, the little adulting boxes you tick when you're young, and convinced organization is morality. The number at the bottom was 60. I don't think the number makes me bad. I think lying about it did. It wasn't meant to be a secret forever. It was meant to be a negotiation with my future. I'll tell him when I'm brave enough and when it won't change how he looks at me. I built a marriage plan out of that wish and called it timing. We started premarital counseling because Ethan said, very calmly, that he wanted to do this like grown-ups. Our counselor, Camila, asked us to talk through values. Money, kids, family, faith, sex. When she got to sexual expectations, my chest went tight with static. Ethan said he pictured monogamy, patience, learning each other. I made a joke about YouTube tutorials and managed to switch to registry gifts before Camila asked anything like numbers. Then my friend Jenna posted a girls' night story where we played truth or drink. It was supposed to be harmless, chaotic content. Blurred faces, stickers over our wine glasses. Someone asked me the stupid question people ask when they think women are characters in a podcast. What's your real number? I laughed. I said, adult. I said, more than 5, less than 100, which is the kind of answer that feels clever until someone who loves you hears it without the sarcasm. Ethan saw it. He didn't bring it up right away. He isn't a man who fights on the front porch. He stores things neatly, then takes them out when he's ready to fold. A week later, he was on my laptop printing his W-2 to get the efficient paperwork done, and I watched his face still over the keyboard. He didn't snoop. My drive was open. The file was right there. Health_2015-2022. XLSX. Can I ask what this is? He said, voice careful. My stomach fell so fast I grabbed the counter. It's old, I said, because that buys you 5 seconds to choose which truth you'll tell. He opened it. He scrolled. I tried to swallow the sound my throat was making. He didn't count out loud. He didn't need to. I thought you said relationships. He didn't say it like a prosecutor. He said it like a man running a mental compare chart he never intended to build. I did, I said. Ethan, I didn't lie about loving you. I didn't lie about who I am now. He stared at a middle distance my face couldn't reach. You waited to tell me until when? I was going to. Before the wedding. When it felt safe. He blinked like I'd coughed on him. Safe for who? We sat at the table where he'd once taught me how to make meatballs like his grandmother, and I tried to explain what I know sounds like nonsense, that you can be 2 people, the one who lived a life with strangers and hotel rooms and bad dates and laughter and mistakes, and the one who stands in a kitchen with a good man thinking about paint colors and dog breeds. I tried to make it math. 60 divided by years, multiplied by how young I was, subtracted by the things I learned, equals the woman in front of you who wants to spend Sundays building a grocery list with you. It's not the arithmetic, he said softly. It's that you knew how I felt about waiting and you let me build a story without the data. He closed the laptop like it hurt his hand to touch. I don't think you're dirty, Sarah. I think we are not the same kind of brave. What does a man do with shattered expectations? The good ones don't go on a podcast. They make a list. The next morning, he sent 2 emails, one to Camila asking to add a session just for values misalignment, and one to a jeweler asking about the return policy on engagement rings in our state. In most places, an engagement ring is a conditional gift. You keep it if you marry, you return it if you don't. In ours, it's no fault. Ring goes back unless the wedding happens. He never said the words, give it back. He forwarded the jeweler's reply to both of us. It said, we accept returns on unworn rings within 90 days if the wedding is canceled. Funds go back to the purchaser. He didn't cancel immediately. He gave us 3 sessions with Camila, every one of them civilized and awful. She asked me to say my history in adult terms without the giggle defense. She asked him to say his discomfort without using me as a chalkboard for his disappointment. We made space for ethics that aren't clean. He said he could have handled the number if it came with honesty from the start, or maybe he couldn't, but he would have respected me for giving him a fair choice. I said I didn't want to be punished for things I did before I knew him. He said consequences are not punishment when they come from mismatched frameworks. He booked himself a full STI panel even though we hadn't had sex yet. He said the test was for the practical brain, not the emotional one. He asked for time. He took long runs where he disappeared into that nowhere men find when they're trying not to cry. I wrote him a letter where I didn't minimize anything. I put the ring in its box on his nightstand without a note. He picked it up, weighed it, and set it back down. When he made his decision, he didn't make it a spectacle. He came over with stationery like he was writing thank you notes and said the sentence the way you say something heavy very carefully so you don't drop it on someone's foot. I can't marry you. He gave reasons that weren't insults. He didn't say gross or used or any of the cruel shorthand women brace for. He said, I have to live with myself inside a story I respect. I don't respect the one where I find out who my wife is from a spreadsheet. He canceled the venue within the window, so we got 80% of the deposit back. He called Aunt Priya to tell her not to drive in for the shower. He emailed the officiant with change of plans and paid the non-refundable fee without commentary. He dropped a toad at my place with the favors we'd ordered. Little jars of honey that now felt like a joke. He asked me to return the ring directly to the jeweler so neither of us had to stand under the fluorescent lights together while the saleswoman did paperwork on our grief. Jenna cried and apologized about the story. I told her it wasn't her fault. My sister asked if I wanted her to tell him, men have numbers too. I said Ethan's number was 1 me. She put her hand on the back of my neck for a while and didn't say the things she wanted to say about how honesty early saves blood later. People love a villain. I'm not giving you one. Ethan didn't post a thread. He didn't send my file around. He didn't try to turn our pain into a public service announcement. He just chose a life he could stand in. He blocked me on socials because he didn't want the drip of accidental contact. He sent one last note through Camila. I hope you find someone who doesn't need the same story I do. Please don't contact my family. 2 months later, I saw him at the farmer's market. He was with coworkers. He smiled with the polite part of his mouth and then walked the other direction. I went home and deleted the spreadsheet. Not because I hate who I was. Because I don't need an archive to validate my existence anymore. I'm not going to pretend I immediately felt empowered. I felt hollow and small and furious at a ghost. I wanted to rewind to the park and grab my younger self by both shoulders, tell him the number or tell him no. Do not let a man build a house on the outline you sketched with cowardice. I went back to Camila alone. We talked about shame versus privacy. We made a list of sentences I will say in any future relationship before anyone gives me jewelry. I stopped confusing secrecy with autonomy. I stopped turning my phone screen down when I was with someone who deserved to see my face fully lit. Ethan wins because he never once insulted me, never tried to fix me with condescension, never bargained with his values to keep a party on the calendar. He wins because he told a venue no and told himself yes. He wins because he cared about the life he'll wake up in more than the narrative of being the man who saved someone. He wins because he walked out quietly and left me with the one thing I'd avoided, the clean sound of my own truth. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. She hid her past hoping time would soften it. He learned the truth from a spreadsheet and chose his peace over a pretty plan. Lesson: privacy is yours, but partnership needs honesty, especially about the stuff that shapes expectations. If you like this video, please subscribe for more. Thanks, and see y'all tomorrow.